Consistently attract soulmate clients. Begin showing up on brand, monetizing on your calling. Welcome all spiritual coaches, leaders, healers, light workers, and practitioners to a show that turns you on in your business and amplifies your magnetism. I'm host, catalyst, and spiritual business coach Rosalyn Fung, and I'm here to journey with you into the juicy and help you discover where the real gaps are. Ignite your mindset and soul with strategies and systems as each episode takes you to the sweet spots that activate your soulgasmic business. Enjoy this light language activation as we begin to magnetize and monetize.
Hello, loves! Oh my gosh, I am so excited. Hello, I'm Rosalyn Fung, Akashic visionary life and business soul coach specializing in client attraction and soulful selling. And this is my first TV show premiere. I am so excited. Those of you who are listening on the podcast later on, I'm really excited for you to continue on here. And now you can tune into the TV show and have the visuals. I'll tell you more about how this unfolded. First of all, as it turns out, I have my sexy silver fox here today, my hubby, Dan Hague of almost 16 years now.
Yeah, getting up there.
So we are having a pleasure in the bedroom and bank episode. Dan is a certified financial planner and a registered retirement specialist consultant with IG Wealth. And together we make up pleasure in the bedroom and bank, where we are very passionate about supporting individuals and couples to have very conscious, sacred relationship with money. And then in your partnerships, how is it that you have conscious conversations about money? And well, how you do one part of your life is how you do all parts of your life. So today we are diving into this exactly with sexy, conscious conversations around money with your spouse. And so, honey, do you want to elaborate a little bit about how you support others?
Sure, yeah. I mean, what it comes down to is I like to humanize the financial planning process, because some people can feel quite intimidated by numbers, or their own personal history gets in their way of having an abundant mindset. So I like to take the numbers and humanize the process and make it an easy, conscious conversation.
So we are going to have fun. We are not boring, you'll notice. That's like, you guys, my last name is Fung. Like, it's foundational that we had fun in our business. And so today we're going to share about how we are, and if this is the first time you're tuning in because you normally watch a TV show on OMTimes, so hello, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for stopping by. So excited that you're here, and thank you to my listeners who are so amazing. If you love this episode, if you find lots of value in it, please do share your takeaways on Instagram. It's Bold Sexy Warrior. You can screenshot and shout it out on the stories. On Facebook, it's Rosalyn Fung Coaching, Bold Sexy Warrior. So we want to talk about how this shift happened, because I have 88 episodes on my podcast here, Activate Your Soulgasmic Business.
Top 10% worldwide podcast.
Oh, you're
right. Yeah, I'm going to throw that in there. Yeah, 10%. Yo.
Yeah. So thank you, my loves. And so I want to share a little bit about, what I'm all about, playing bigger, right? Really, I'm here do and have and help you do the same. And so it's been an interesting journey getting here, and it's such a celebration to be here in this moment. And I'm all about celebrating. I know that many of us don't do that enough. And so I'm here to remind you to celebrate the journey, celebrate the little things, because they matter. they get you to move the needle forward in your business, in your life, right? It takes belief shifting. It takes a certain mindset. Yeah, you're stepping into that next level version of yourself. And so for me, I was reflecting with my team about 2021 and what's been working, what went well, what are we celebrating, and then also what do we want to shift and see where the edges are so that we can move into the next level version of Rosalyn Fung coaching. And so one of them was about my podcast, and I've always had a dream to have a TV show. So manifested. And so how this came about was I was so ready to, took me like 6 months because I've been thinking about it, like how do I move into the TV show, but I've been loving so much the radio show. And so I'm like, well, we just gotta experiment. This is what I teach my clients. Like, let's just experiment with seeing what happens, with strategy and a plan as well, of course. But at this point, it was like, okay, well, I just have to break up with OMTimes Radio. And I was telling, Christopher, like, this is my vision, is to move into TV. And so I'm going to have to break up with radio. And he's like, Roz, don't you know we have a TV show side? I'm like, what? No. And so that was just like, as soon as you make a decision and you close that door, and sometimes we don't, sometimes doors close and we want something happen, but it doesn't happen. That's okay, because that's spirit's protection and redirection. And in this case, it was a conscious, purposeful decision, so they could align with my next level version of me and my company. And so how immediate and beautiful that unfolded. And so here we are. So I'm celebrating. And it just so happened because I have, my platform is very much an interview platform mostly. I do have and will continue to have solo episodes. But it's so much fun jamming with my guests and learning from my guests as well, and really sharing their brilliance out in the world. That's why I love having my show. And so it just so happens synchronistically that my Sexy Silver Fox gets to premiere. And it was almost just over a year ago, with Facebook Memories. I love Facebook Memories, by the way. Dan and I were on an episode when Christopher, producer of OMTimes Radio and TV, now that I know that, is he let me know that we made it onto iHeartRadio as well. That's just over a year ago, and it just happened to be another pleasure in the bedroom and bank. So
you're welcome. Yeah.
You're like my good luck charm. So, yes, there's kissing and making out on this TV show.
with me, right? Yeah. Okay. Just double checking. Yeah.
I didn't say yes.
Oh.
Anyway, and so here we are. It's just so much fun. So on our schedule today, my loves, what we have is, I'm going to pull it up. We're going to talk a little bit about the story, if we're new to you, how Dan and I, we've been together for 20 years, and we'll be almost in June.
Yeah.
Like, that is.
Yeah. I know.
I met him when I was 21. He's a couple years old. Yeah. And that's pretty amazing that, the story is we met through a mutual friend. I was at this place where I'm like, nope, I just broke up with somebody that I've been dating in a serious relationship.
For all you young people out there, this is before apps were invented to meet people. So we have to do it the old-fashioned way. We're that old, just so you know. Yeah.
And so, you always find your person when you're not looking for them, right? Because I was just in the stage of like, nope, I just want to be single for a while. I want to do me and just have fun being single. And of course, this mutual friend of ours, introduced us it was actually kind of funny. She said that he looks like her ex-boyfriend. So I'm like, well, let me see, because I thought he was cute.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah,
I like
okay.
her ex-boyfriend.
Okay. Good.
And so the first time I actually saw Dan was on my clunky ass computer monitor, you know, like not the flat screens, but not like the clunky ass ones.
And that weigh 100 pounds.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, he totally looks like your ex-boyfriend. He's cute. Like, I didn't think anything of it, right? And then when we actually met, it was just like, he's pretty cute. He's pretty cute. He has a nice body.
And the sexy silver fox did not have any sexy silver back then. So
No. So we're going to tell you a little bit about, you know, we've been together for 20 years, happily married for 16. How is it that we have continued to have a passionate marriage? What are some factors to consider to implement in your relationship so that at the highest level of relationship, it's about co-creation and really contributing to the world in whatever way that looks like. And this is us exactly doing it in the way that we're meant to, as our sole purpose.
Yeah, and overall, it's exciting for us as a couple to venture into these new aspects of our couplehood too, right? You know, there's a lot of people who live their lives as you know, partners, right? But they don't expand on it any further. And I'm so excited that we're able to take on these new initiatives and we can expand our own relationship. It's fun.
Yes,
Keeps it
absolutely.
fresh.
It really does. Yeah. It really excites us. And sometimes, you know, we you're like, what are you going to say? It's beautiful that we on purpose create time with each other. I mean, we have 2 young kids. We have
2 busy young kids.
Yeah, 2 busy boys, almost 10 in less than a month. He's turning 10 this month. And now we're recording February 3rd. Birthday's February 24th. And our other one is turning 8 in April. So, you know, boys are busy. And as parents, you can lose your sense of couplehood because you just really get so engaged in family life. So it's really important to carve out time to date your partner.
You gotta shake up the routines, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so today we want to dive in a little bit more about, because we get a lot of questions around, you know, how is it that you guys flow so well? How is it that you are such a power couple? And we want to share that because, I mean, we are special, but we're not that special that no one else can have this magic either, right? Like, we co-create. And we also want to talk a little bit more about the number one topic that breaks up a lot of clients, a lot of couples. Well, they are our clients. So,
yeah.
By the way, my master's, I used to be a registered psychologist. I was in private practice for 11 years, and my master's is in marriage and family therapy. So I have a lot of experience working with couples, of course. And so does Dan as a financial planner. And so money it's no secret. It's the number one, sex being the other one, right? Thing that couples have lots of conflicts around. And so we want to talk about ways in how you can move into a more conscious conversations and in a sacred and safe way without it escalating, without it there being like stonewalling and all this tension, unnecessary tension.
And to expand your relationship with your partner.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Rather expand. And we do go, dive deeper. We do have a course called Manifest More Money. It's a workshop that we put out early last year, 2021 in January. So it's just over a year old. Yeah. So many wonderful anniversaries to celebrate, honey.
Yeah.
And we'll drop the link in the show notes for the Sacred Vision Journaling prompts guide. And then you can actually have a 50% off coupon code for this, Manifest More Money, which also includes my Sacred Sales meditations. And so, I feel like there's a lot of couples that could totally receive the support. And this is such a beautiful way for us to share.
And you know what I find when I work with a lot of my couples is sometimes it just takes a little nudge in the right direction to get them moving on their own, right? People don't know where to start when you're taking on a new initiative. Like, yeah, what do I do? Where do I start? So sometimes just a little bit of a nudge is all you need.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the other thing we want to talk about, maybe actually might be a good place to start, is how do you connect when perhaps you have different values and, you know, some of you have different interests. So for example, a lot of times we get asked the question, because I am very spiritual, I am very woo, unapologetically. You know, I speak light language, I read Akashic records, and I bring that into my coaching business. And so it's like, you know, Dan is a financial planner.
I like Excel spreadsheets. That's what I like.
I'm learning to like them. So, you know, how is it that we stay connected in terms of being, in some ways, I'm much more spiritual and he's much, we'll say, I don't know, you're not as woo as I am. How about we say that? You know,
that would be
it's not better or worse. It just is, right? So let's talk about, let's start there.
How do you stay grounded and open to a different perspective in terms of looking at any situation? Yeah, whether it's money, sex, whatever the case is.
Kids, parenting, right? Yeah. So how we usually answer that is, you know, you support me all the time. Like, you might not understand, and you may not even like fully believe, actually, where are you at with that? Like, you know, I am intuitive, I am psychic, and I know that's something that's tough for
I need tangibility, I need proof, right? So it's an interesting dynamic that we have, for sure. But you know, I can't, you know, I don't feel like, you know, dismissing someone else's belief because it's not my belief. I don't feel that that's the right thing to do as well, too. So I'm open to all different systems of belief, and my belief in proof is just another form of belief, right?
So it's like the number one thing is you stay open and you don't judge and you support me no matter what.
Yeah.
And I feel like because you stay open, you know, there's been several occasions where your ego mind just cannot make sense of what you just witnessed. You know, I have a lot of intuitive friends and we hang out and they'll say these things and they will say it about Dan and he's like, okay, you couldn't have known that. And so it's interesting to watch the cognitive dissonance happening and unfolding. So I feel like you've opened more, which is really cool. And at the same time, you know, I can't get I choose not to get frustrated, to be like, yo, you need to be looking at things like I'm right? Like that no one ever, it's not a win-win. It's not a win-win if you're trying to convince your partner that you're right about something and they're wrong. And so that's another principle and value we have is, what's the win-win in this situation?
Key phrase. I love that. Win-win. Right? Because there should never be a compromise, because that means someone's not winning, or both of you are not winning.
That's right. When you have to compromise, that means you need to betray some part of yourself. You can negotiate. That's different, right? And it doesn't mean you have to meet 50-50. It's like, you know what? I like that is this means so much more to you than it does to me. Like, I can flex with this, right? Whatever that situation is. But it's really having the ability to communicate what's the win-win here. And I will say, it's interesting. You know, I am a good listener. I listen really well. I hear things in when people speak. I hear what they're not saying, but what their soul or their, you know, from a psychologist background, what really is going on. And I can really contact those spaces. And in our relationship, of course, because I'm, you know, me, I interrupt a lot sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. No, but you know,
I will admit that. I get excited.
Adding to your point, she's
Yeah.
good at calling me out on my. Can we say shit on
Yeah,
here?
of course.
Yeah, calling
It's
me
our
out on
TV
my
show.
shit. Yeah, it's our show. We own it. And I appreciate that, right? And a big part of my, I don't know, my growth is to not take things personally, but take it as just an insight into why I'm thinking a certain way, right? And it's neither right nor wrong. It's just, take a step back and take a look. Oh, wow, what is my own personal history, my own beliefs? How are they influencing my decisions right now? So she's fantastic at calling me out on my shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
And vice versa. So like, here's another thing that really supports us as a couple is we take personal accountability versus what the opposite of that is victim, right? Victim is life is happening to me. Like you blame yourself or you blame others. You're not willing to look at your own shit. Where personal accountability is going, life is happening for me and through me. And how am I co-creating in this situation right now? What's my part in it, conscious or unconscious, right? And so when that's been really life-changing. Dan and I have done a lot of personal development in the last, especially 6 years, 6 years, right? And we have our coaches, and we really are very intentional about making sure we are hearing each other, we are feeling seen. We may not agree, and that's okay. Like it's about really truly understanding and then trying to find that win-win. And you get creative this way. Yeah, really creative this way.
I'm going to do a shout out to Rayanne Woodchats at Integrity Seminars in Edmonton.
Yep.
Holy smokes. Game changer right there.
Yeah. Rayanne Woodchats. Yes, that's our coach. She's amazing. She's also my shaman teacher in the first year training. So it's so incredible here. Oh, hello. This is really cool.
This is new for us. We got messages popping up on the side here.
Yeah. This is so fun. All right. This is how the TV show works. And then those of you who are watching on Facebook right now, I can't see your comments, but please do let us know that you're here. Say hello. Let us know if you're watching the replay. Like, this is so fun. That's my jam. That's actually why I want to do TV, is because it's so much more, like, I like visuals. I know that being on video, you have the ability to get more visible, and it's my jam. I love being on camera. I know that energetically, I feel like I'm more magnetic, and I don't know if that's because it might be a personal, like, I love being on the camera and my energy just exudes further visually.
I was just going to say that too. Interpreting body language is a big part of communication. So if you're on radio, you don't see that. If you're on text is the worst form of communication. Right?
Don't try to resolve issues on text.
No.
Okay, no, don't try
we had some issues with our kid with another parent, and she was texting me. I'm like, no, we can talk about this in person. We're not going to do this over text, because so much can get misinterpreted.
Oh my goodness.
So anyways, video is almost as good as in person, right? So that's why we love it here.
The other thing, so personal accountability, let's move into, like, what are other things that have helped us grow as a couple? Personal accountability and really, like, owning our stuff. So that is the first thing too. If we're starting to move into a fight, like a conflict, we don't fight often, to be honest, but I think it's healthy to have conflicts in a relationship. I also see that as, I'm curious about couples who don't ever quote unquote fight, right? Then what are you not saying, right? Because
are you not speaking up,
right? When you are really saying things that are true for you and how you feel at that moment, a lot of that can be so vulnerable. I mean, again, talking about money, right? There may be some things in how you want to spend your money, or maybe you didn't. You spent your money unconsciously, right? And you were impulse buying. And how is it that you want to deal with that? And a lot of couples, I mean, you see that there's financial infidelity.
People are hiding, spending at golf tournaments or spending on shoes or whatever the case is. People hide,
and like thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
Not like thousands, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that as well as a marriage and family therapist. And so it's like we're so scared to speak up for fear of rejection, because at the core of us, we want to feel loved, safe, and belong. And so if we're sharing this part of us that perhaps we have some shame about, we are scared to share that with others. And I want to invite you, if we're speaking to you, there's something that you haven't quite shared with your committed partner. There's something that you has been deeply on your heart, but it's been so vulnerable. And it could, again, be in the area of money. It could be sex. Like, man, people, you might have a vanilla sex life because you're not actually saying what you like, what you want. There may be fear that your partner might think you're too much or dirty for thinking that, right? And so it's just like, the most important thing is to create that sense of safety, and it needs to come within here. This is why we keep doing our own inner work, because really everything is neutral until you put meaning to it. And how you do that is based on your belief system. And so where do those beliefs come from? It usually comes from childhood, right? Us witnessing. When you think about the money stories, what did we see? What did we learn from our parents, from each of our parents, about money? How did our parents deal with money? And so that gets unconsciously passed down. And then now when you're trying to discuss about money in your relationship with your partner, you are probably looking at things from a perspective of your own beliefs and trying to communicate it that way, right? And usually we're not communicating in a conscious way. We're like arguing about it, or we're fired up because our nervous system is reacting based on our unconscious beliefs. And we don't heal our money shame stories or our beliefs, it's going to come out in the relationship. And it may look like not talking about it at all, or right? Financial infidelity might look like you just don't ever look at your bills, might look like impulsive spending, might look like you see your bank account grow bigger, more. But a lot of people actually feel so uncomfortable having that number grow. Perhaps there might be some beliefs around, oh my God, I don't deserve this money, or rich people are greedy. And so it's just like they unconsciously spend so that number goes back down, and right? So you stay playing small. I think we have so much more to jam about with this. We do need to go on a commercial break, and we will continue this dialogue after. I am sure Sexy Silver Fox here has more to say.
For sure. Thanks for joining us so far.
OMTimes TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimes TV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities.
Are you feeling maxed out working one-on-one with clients, and you're deeply desiring to scale your business for more time freedom without sacrificing your income, but rather expanding it? Many of my clients who are light workers, healers, practitioners, and even coaches, they're often multi-modality, are coming to me
because they are sick and tired of working with clients on a one-off session model where the clients are coming in on an as-need basis. Or if they're selling packages, they are selling them in the sense of buy 5, get 1 free, or the greater the number of sessions, the greater the discount. The problem with this is it's still a dollar for hours business model. And so that leaves the practitioner feeling really exhausted and overwhelmed from having to put so much time, effort, and energy in finding new clients that they're not operating in their most elevated self with their current clients. And so if this is you, I would love to share with you that it's time to elevate your business and scale it to sell high ticket one-on-one programs or even group programs. This will allow you to have more deeper impacts because you're raising your clients' results, you're scaling your business, and you're having that time freedom you deeply are yearning for. If this is resonating with you, love, I'd love to invite you to come on a soul business alignment call with me so that you can stop feeling like you're on this roller coaster ride and start to feel safe and stable and even having fun in your business and your finances. Please go to electrifymybusiness.com to apply and we'll hop on a call. I can't wait to connect.
If I could be you and you could be me for just 1 hour, if we could find a way to get inside each other's minds, walk a mile in my shoes, walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back, loves. Oh my gosh, that was the first time I saw my commercial. Yes.
A lot of firsts today.
I love it. I haven't seen the whole final product, so there it is. What do you guys think? Anyway, so we wanted to just continue our dialogue with the importance of really being aware, personally aware of your own money beliefs and where did you learn those from? With no judgment, right? Absolute observation, absolute curiosity. And that's actually something I love to teach my clients is really explore your life and approach life with an experimental, curious attitude. You cannot be judgmental and curious at the same time, right? It's like, oh, this is interesting. Let me check into this.
Well, I wanted to give the example of this
beautiful painting here behind us
that was personalized, customized for us, for Roz here.
I want to give Stephanie Hassan. She's one of my closest soul sisters. She created this. So she is an intuitive as well, and she does channeled art. So those of you who are watching here right now on TV, you can see. So she channels her client's energy, and it's probably no big surprises. Like you can see a dragon right
this
there.
This is Roz's personality in art.
My energy signature.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very sacral energy, lots of passion, lots of fire, lots of sensual, sexual energy. Probably no big surprise. And it's so beautiful how Steph, she just uses, I believe it's alcohol ink, and it just rolls out this way. So she had fun. So Queen Nefertiti is her handle on Instagram.
And the process for us to come to purchase this piece of art is interesting in terms of the dynamic of a relationship. Because when Roz first brought up the idea of investing in this, and she told me all the facts about it, I went into my head and I'm thinking, okay, well, how do we make this happen? You know, where are we going to allocate money from? Blah, 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 that type of thing. So I was in my head trying to interpret what was happening here to allow it to happen, because that's my process to analyze, right? However,
now just to put this into perspective, this piece is a couple $1,000s. Okay, so
it's big.
It's
and
very
it's
big. You want to see the whole thing right now. Not just that, but I mean, hello, like to channel somebody's energy and to put your beautiful gifts and talents and energy, like literally, if you were here, you could feel the energy from this art. It is incredible. It activates me.
You will not find it at IKEA. That's for sure. Yeah. And anyhow, so when I was doing my thing, doing my analysis, I believe that Roz interpreted that as he's resistant to it, right? And we had to have a very conscious discussion about, you know, what our own process is in terms of finding an agreement in it. So it was interesting in terms of us really putting a hold on. We could feel the tension mounting in this discussion, but then we kind of had to take a step back, put a hole on it, and really dig into each other's processes for you know, coming to an agreement on it. It was a great end result, and I love art. I'm not against art, and I think it's who you are. It's perfect. It's ideal.
Yeah, and this would have been my first time. I mean, we purchased this. Has it been 2 years?
Oh, okay.
It's
been a while.
It's been a while, but I've never invested this much money on an art piece before. So it was a stretch for me. So here I am feeling pretty vulnerable about it. And it's like, oh my goodness, like for me personally, it's a stretch. And yet my soul felt so called to have one created for me. And plus I love supporting my soul sister. So, I was like, okay, how am I going to tell Dan this? Because I know it's probably going to shock him. Because one of our grounding principles is we always include each other on our money decisions. Like if we're thinking about investing in something, we talk about it first with each other.
And so I know my wife well enough.
That's a really helpful rule, hopefully.
When there's a big spend being proposed, there's a little bit of a quiver in her throat. So I know that that's coming. I'm like, all right, let me brace myself here, but I'm still open to it, right?
Yeah. And so here I am vulnerably saying, okay, I have something I want to invest in. And this is not, just to be clear, about asking for permission. Okay, this is about being in the energy of knowing that this is what I want. I'd like to discuss it with you as per our contracts with each other in terms of communication, in terms of how we go into relationship with each other and with money. And how can we find the win-win in this? Right? Because I want this and I get what I want. So I would love to do that in a conscious way as much as possible. And so, yeah, we really had to, like, this probably was a good couple decisions to just really
and to give a bit of background in terms of my process. So that's when COVID first flared up and the world was being turned upside down. And, it was stressful for everyone in the whole world, right?
Oh my gosh,
So I'm like, we're going to be spending thousands of dollars on a piece of art. Okay, let me just take a moment and just absorb that, and then figure out. I was good with it, but then also my process is figuring out. Okay, so how are we going to make this happen? So I think I was in my head about that, and Roz was thinking, oh my God, he's not into this, but I was.
I was getting defensive. Like I was already I could feel the little Roz inside being like.
So it's just really getting clarity from your partner in terms of where they're at, because I think we can come to, conclusions that who knows if they're accurate until you actually ask your partner.
Yeah, because it's natural for us to all make assumptions, right? We see things through filters. Remember, usually things are not neutral, right? We see things through filters based on our beliefs and our past, right? That's what forms our beliefs. And so it's like, okay, if I'm interpreting him being silent, that means he's going to say no. That was like what my we'll say inner child was thinking and my beliefs, right? And so it's witnessing that, but not diving into it. And it's then being in your seat of your soul or your observer hat and really noticing. You notice all pieces, right? You notice your inner turmoil that you might be experiencing. You notice your assumptions, because assumptions could be right, wrong, or somewhere in between. But don't act on them yet. you need to check in to see if those assumptions where they are at, or if they're accurate. And that's the key piece with the communication. Don't assume, don't act on your assumptions. Check in with your assumptions. Okay. And so we really had to check in on those assumptions, or I think you caught me and this is like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say here. I'm like, ooh, there's my assumption.
Yeah. So it was a great exercise and a great process for us, right? And that process is applied to money, sex, parenting, whatever, right? How you do one aspect of life is how you do every aspect. Typically. Yeah.
And I think this moves into the concept that's really important for many of us to know, is the concepts of being codependent, right? Everything's on a spectrum. So in relationship energy, right? There is on the extreme end of there's on one end it's codependency. On the other end, it's independence, where you almost feel like roommates. Codependent is the opposite. There's enmeshment. Like you're so affected by how your partner feels that you take on their feelings, right? You cannot separate each other. It's like, well, if you do this, then I don't like that, then there's a reaction to that, creates a wedge between you both. The lack of healthy boundaries. What we ideally want is interdependence. You get to be who you are. I get to be who I am. And when you come together, it's not that you complete each other. So the whole Jerry Maguire thing, you complete me? No.
Yes.
You complete yourself. Okay. You complete yourself. And when you come together as complete whole individuals and you honor that, the relationship, if we can look at it like almost like in a triangle, right? The relationship's like a cherry on top, right? The relationship is like where you connect with your whole selves. You don't complete each other. You don't depend on someone else to complete you. That's called codependency. And that's where shit can happen a lot. And I would say most couples actually fall in codependency. We were on a couples retreat in Mexico. Oh gosh, November 2019,
before COVID, yeah.
And with Rayanne, our
Integrity
amazing
seminars,
coach. Yeah. And so we were there, and we had to we were taking like a quiz or something to figure out where on the spectrum of independent, codependent,
like a self-assessment.
We land on. And so Rayanne shared that most couples who think they're interdependent are actually codependent. We actually fell in a little bit, touch of that codependency, because you were really shocked by your results, right?
Yeah, exactly. I thought, we're good in terms of where we're at in our dependency on each other. But then when you take a look at, how we behave and how we act with each other, I'm like, I guess I am more codependent than.
Yeah. Do you remember an example?
I'm trying to remember the exact example, but I cannot.
Yeah, this is not scripted.
No.
You guys, this just came through.
I'm having decaf today, so that's my brain's not at 100%.
No, but I mean, this has been a while ago. But what we do remember is that I had already been moving in from a little bit more codependent to, and again, everything's on a spectrum. So we're still healthy because we've done so much work, but still there was an element of, I noticed that if I wanted to do this, you'd be emotionally affected, but it had nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and I'm sure vice versa as well. So we've moved through that. It'd be interesting to take the quiz now to see where we land. But I feel like because we have done so much work, continuing to do our work because it's the most important thing, we really value that. It's really supported us.
And the big thing for me is just the awareness of that fact, and then always often coming back to it and just kind of taking a look at, well, what did my action, did I move towards interdependency or did I slide back to codependency, and just kind of taking a third person perspective on in terms of where you're at.
And I love that you said that, hun, because it's dynamic, right? Like it's like sometimes you'll slide a little bit more to the codependence, like, oh, and that's where you pull yourself back. And it's like, oh, hang on, you're allowed to have that belief, you're allowed to have that desire, and who am I to judge, right? And how do we find the win-win in this so that it feels aligned for both of us?
And one concept I find interesting is that we all have seasons. Just like the weather, we have personal seasons as well too. And I mean, for a while you can feel that you're on top of the world and you're kicking butt in schooling and parenting and work and everything. And then for another season, you can find that you're playing small and you're not being your true self. Right. And I feel that often, I'm varying between the different seasons of my life. And I think, everything has seasons, relationship with your significant other, relationship with your parents or your kids or whatever the case is. So I find that interesting. That doesn't mean that if you've slipped into a different season for a while, that doesn't mean that that's where you're at for the rest of your life. You can go back into a new season again.
Yes. Yeah. Be flexible. That's another mindset to really embody, is be flexible. Don't be rigid, because being rigid just gets you stuck in your shit sometimes. And it doesn't allow you to stay curious because you're so in this belief that I am right. And let me tell you, being right, would you rather be right or be happy? Right? And be aligned, right?
I want all of that.
You both get your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important, to feel heard, and in the creating safety, that's in your relationship. That's really important. A lot of times people don't feel safe in their relationship because, again, of their past beliefs. Maybe they had a very toxic relationship. Maybe they had a relationship where there was betrayal, right? And so if we don't heal from our past relationships and shift our beliefs, we carry that shit into our next relationships. And so, in fact, statistically, people who marry for the second time, every time you marry, the statistics show that the chances of that marriage being successful is less and less and less, right? Unless you do your work, you both do your work, so that you're not bringing in your shit from each party. And then, because really a healthy relationship is going, what's my shit? What's your shit? And how do we not let it collide? How can we really shift into a highest version of ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything else you'd like to share in terms of, ways of being when it comes to being a conscious, powerful couple?
Yeah, and we may have touched a little bit on it before, but one of the key things for me is not having judgment in terms of any new ideas or topics that Roz wants to bring up, right? Is truly digging into where that thought process is coming from and understand. I mean, we all have personal histories with money. I mean, I've got an interesting one. I mean, I'm a certified financial planner. I love numbers, but my mom and dad used to be a nun and a priest.
Yes, you heard that correct.
Yeah, they used to be a nun and a priest.
Before, when they met.
And then once they decided to have family and everything,
they left the roles.
They left the roles and they became psychologists and teachers at the University of Alberta and St. Joe's College. So how did a son of a nun and a priest and psychologist go into financial planning? Well, it was an interesting journey for me. And of course, Roz has a much different history to her upbringing. The daughter to new immigrants to Canada, right? And
we're not rich, crazy Asians kind of thing. Like that movie, that doesn't apply to me.
Yeah. So it's interesting how our own personal histories unconsciously have an impact on our decision making. So when we have a big money decision to make, or even just have a casual conversation, and she says something that kind of piques my interest, then I like to dig into it, try to do it without judgment, right? And try to really digest where it's coming from. And to me, we all talk about open communication with your partner, but the complement to that is, coming from a place of neutrality, of no judgment, right? To me,
Yeah.
that's so vitally important.
And listening.
Mhm.
A lot of times we're not actively listening. It's you're already formulating what you're going to say based on your assumptions as you're listening, as you're hearing, we'll say, hearing what your partner is saying. And so active listening requires you to stay curious, really understand before you respond, not react, respond. Right? And so what I heard you say was XYZ. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, great. Or if it wasn't, then you give them your partner the chance to explain it so that you really get on the same page. It's like, okay. So based on that, here's my response to that. Sometimes when Dan and I are maybe moving into more of a heated discussion, I will say this. I'll say, okay, so I'm trying to hear you, but I notice, I call her Little Roz, my inner child. I notice Little Roz, like I'm starting to shake. So that tells me that I'm feeling not safe about this. I know it's not about you. There's something that's happening within me right now. So this is more advanced communication that I'm sharing with you right now, but it's the most, anybody can do this. You just got to practice. I know it doesn't sound natural to speak this way, but let me tell you, teaching couples to speak this way has changed the game. Even speaking to ourselves this way, right? As soon as our nervous system doesn't feel safe, it's like shaking, we're trembling, we're feeling blocks, whatever that is, that's you not feeling completely safe. And so stay curious immediately. It's like, what's happening right now? What's happening? And we actually share it out loud. Like, I'm noticing this is happening. I might need to just go and do some breath work. I need to go calm or whatever. Let's come back and reintervene half an hour so I can hear you differently as I regulate myself. Right? And so can you imagine how much easier conversations would be if we all were speaking and this self-aware and then sharing out loud and then going and regulating ourselves and then coming back much more grounded and regulated to try again? Wow.
And I think that's the intention with all of this personal development.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the world, whether, wherever you're at in your life, personal development will help shift the consciousness of the world to a more elevated place, right? I think Roz loves it when I use words like consciousness. It's not an Excel spreadsheet.
On.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and he makes me laugh still. After all these years, he's got some cheesy dad jokes as well. Those don't make me laugh as much, but they make the kids laugh. Yeah. So, is there any final words before we maybe move into a close with a meditation and a light language transmission?
I don't know. We've covered a lot here.
We
didn't really get into the our own personal. There's a few more topics for another day that we can cover.
Okay, well then
sure.
that just means you guys gotta tune in.
Stay tuned.
If you have not checked out our episodes, Pleasure in the Bedroom and Bank in Activate Your Orgasmic Business podcast, you can tune in on Spotify, Apple, my YouTube channel as well, Rosalyn Fung, and search for the Pleasure in the Bedroom and Bank episodes. Dan and I have about, I believe, 4 or 5 episodes there, and we go deeper into some other concepts. We have fun. So, okay, beautiful. Let's move into a guided meditation where I'm feeling called to support you to move into your power, move into this place of safety when it comes to your relationship with money. So I'm going to invite you to take a deep breath in and then sigh out. Breathing in, expanding your breath. And then out. Just letting go of anything that doesn't serve or support. And then in this moment, your next breath, breathing into your heart space. And letting go. And just noticing the sensations in your body, noticing the energy without judgment. Tuning into what in this episode really stood out the most for you. It's whatever pops in your mind right now. Or the feeling you received in tuning in. Perhaps you feel inspired. Perhaps you feel curious. We hope that this ignited something within you. That next level version of you, of your relationship. Tuning into the possibilities of safety at that deeper level. Feeling into the possibilities of having conscious communication at a deep level. Breathing in and out. Morakia, sirakurati, nirokurakia, sirakia, rakurati, morakuratia. Nirakurakia, sirakurati, nirakurakia, sirakur. Morakuratia, nirakuratia, sirakurati, nirakurakia, morakuratia. Breathing in. And then as you breathe out, anchor in this beautiful light code transmission. Beautiful. Thank you, my loves, for tuning in. If you feel called, I'd love for you to go grab that Sacred Vision Journaling Prompts Guide we have. And there's a coupon code for our Manifest More Money course so that Dan and I can walk you further with exercises to deepen your relationship with money and win your relationship as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, my loves, for tuning in. We'd love to